aspirants. I welcome you all on the YouTube channel of ANALYST IAS. Our today's topic for focus of the day's discussion is the 49th GST Council meeting. So we will see why in news, what is the GST Council, what are the highlights of the report, then what is GST, what are the challenges associated with the GST, then we will see trend of GST collection of the year 2021-22 and 22-23 as well. Then we will come to our today's prelims practice questions. We have two questions and then we will come to our mains practice question. This was the meeting. We'll start. Why in news? The 49th GST Council meeting was held on February 18, 2023 to discuss and make recommendations on several issues related to the goods and services tax. The Council proposed several recommendations including compensation for GST, GST Appellate Tribunal, capacity-based taxation and special composition schemes for certain sectors. What is the GST Council? So the GST Council is a federal body that aims to bring together states and the center on a common platform for the nationwide rollout of indirect taxes reforms. The Goods and Services Tax Council was set up by President as per the Article 279. The Union Finance Minister is the chairman of the council, with ministers nominated by the state governments as its members. So the ministers are nominated by the state governments and the chairman is the Union Finance Minister. Now the council is devised in such a way that the center has 1/3 voting power and the states have 2/3 of the voting power. The decisions are taken by the 3/4 majority rate. What are the highlights of the report? First is the GST Appellate Tribunal. The Council adopted the report of group of ministers with certain modifications on establishing GST Appellate Tribunal to resolve disputes under tax regime launched in 2017. This raises hopes of quicker disposal of GST disagreements that are adding to the court's caseload. The tribunals will have representation from the judiciary and also technical members. सो जीएसटी रिलेटेड जो केसेस होंगे वो ट्रिब्यूनल ही सॉल्व कर देगा और कोर्ट्स पर जो लोड है वो कम हो पाएगा. नेक्स्ट, क्लियर्ड पेंडिंग कंपनसेशन ड्यूज. इट हैज क्लियर्ड द बैलेंस ऑफ 16,982 crore for June 2022. It has finalized GST compensation of 16,524 crore to 6 states UTs including Delhi, Karnataka, Odisha, Pondicherry, Tamil Nadu and Telangana. Then there are lower penal charges. It approved lower penal charges for delaying filing of annual returns by businesses with a overturn of up to 20 crore a year. The council has approved an amnesty scheme for taxpayers unable to file 3 statutory returns that entail conditional waivers or reductions in late fee for such filings. बेसिकली 5 करोड़ तक के लोन पे पर डे का 50 रुपीज पेनल्टी है और अप फ्रॉम 5 करोड़ टू 20 करोड़ 100 रुपीज पर डे की पेनल्टी है. तो पेनल्टी काफी कम कर दी गई है ताकि लोग जीएसटी का वो भर पाए. नेक्स्ट, जीएसटी कंपनसेशन. द जीएसटी काउंसिल हैज डिसाइडेड टू क्लियर द एंटायर पेंडिंग बैलेंस जीएसटी कंपनसेशन ऑफ 16,982 crores for June 2022. With this release, the center would clear the entire provisionally admissible compensation due for the 5 years as envisaged in the GST Act of 2017. Then there are rate changes. The GST rate on several items have been changed such as pencil sharpeners, rubbers and liquid jaggery, RAB. The council also decided to extend the GST exemption to educational institutes and central and state educational boards for conducting entrance examinations through any authority including the National Testing Agency. GST on tobacco and pan masala. The tax evasion in this industry is common and steep. In order to curb tax evasion by pan masala and gutka industries, the GST Council approved the recommendations of group of ministers which include a capacity based tax system will not be introduced. Compliance and tracking measure to plug leakages, evasions, export of these items will be done on LUT, etc. and petroleum have been excluded from GST. GST is a comprehensive indirect tax levied on the supply of goods and services in India, and petroleum products have been kept outside the purview of GST. The decision to exclude petroleum products from GST was taken keeping in mind the revenue implications and the fact that petroleum products significantly impact the country's economy. What is GST? GST is a value-added tax system that is levied on the supply of goods and services in an economy. It is a comprehensive indirect tax that was introduced in India on 1st July 2017 through the 101st Constitutional Amendment Act of 2016. Try to remember the act with the slogan of One Nation, One Tax. The GST has subsumed indirect taxes like excise duty, value added tax, service tax, luxury tax, etc. It is essentially a consumption tax and is levied at the final consumption point. It means that the customer who is consuming it will pay GST. For example, us. What is the tax structure under GST? Central GST to cover excise duty, service tax, etc. State GST to cover value added tax, luxury tax, etc. Integrated GST, which is IGST, is to cover interstate trade. IGST is not taxed but is a system to coordinate state and union taxes. Under GST, goods and services are divided into 5 different tax slabs for collection of the taxes, that is 0%, 5%, 12%, 18% and up to 28%. What are the challenges or issues with the GST collection? There are multiple tax rates. Unlike many other economies which have implemented this tax regime, India has multiple tax rates. This hampers the progress of a single indirect tax rate for all the goods and services in the country. For example, there are multiple tax rates like this. Then inflation and revenue collections. Some economists argue that current rise in the GST collections is due to high inflation. The growth rate of GST collection in real terms is much lower. Example, the year-on-year growth rate in GST collections in March 2022 was 14.7% in nominal terms, but only 3.7% in the real terms. This is from the adjusted inflation, 3.7%. Then there are hardship for taxpayers. There is unwarranted and excessive issuance of show cause notices for reconciliations of financial numbers, grant of registrations, etc. that create severe hardships for the taxpayers. There is lack of coverage with petrol, diesel, ATF outside the GST. A large part of the economy is still not covered by the indirect tax regime. Then compensation to the states. The GST Act guaranteed full compensation to the state for first 5 years of the GST if their revenues fall below 14% annual growth. A lot of states have been dependent upon the compensation. Moreover, the union government had delayed GST compensation to states from 2019-20 when the economy started slowing down. It was paid in May 2022 after very much delay. This is the trend of GST collection. This is taken from the PIB site. Now you can see this one green is the 2022 and 3 collection. First it goes down, then it is somewhat stable and the trend is like this. You can pause the video and you can just look at it. Now we will come to our today's prelims practice question. That consider the following items: cereal, grain hulled, chicken, eggs cooked, fish processed and canned, newspapers containing advertisement materials. Which of the following above statements are exempted under the GST? Pause the video, try to answer. So basically, if you look closely, then the option third, fish processed and canned, this is an industrial process, so this would not be exempted from GST. Remove 3, so you got 1 and C as your answer, A or C as your answer. I am telling you this by using simple common sense, and then you can just look towards the question second, chicken, eggs cooked. So GST cannot be applied on this, so it includes only C. So C is the option. This was about the common sense. Now, what are the most likely advantages of implementing goods and services tax? This question came in the year 2017. First, it will replace multiple taxes collected by multiple authorities and will thus create a single market in India. Second, it will drastically reduce the current account deficit of India and will enable it to increase its foreign exchange reserves. Third, it will enormously increase the growth and size of economy of India and will enable it to overtake China in the near future. Select the correct answers using the codes given below. Pause the video, try to answer. So basically, answer to this question, it will not reduce the current account deficit, it will not give any effect on this. And in the third, GST will attract the FDI as it is a single window taxation system. So more inflow of FDI can be there, but we cannot be sure that it can overtake the China in the near future. So second and third are incorrect. So you are left with option A. Now we will come to our mains practice question that explain the rationale behind the Goods and Services Tax Act of 2017. How was COVID-19 impacted? How the GST compensation fund and created new federal tensions. This was all about the today's video. Stay tuned for the next one. Have a great day.